very brief weaving that Györgyi and I will be doing now, just to share with you some reflections that are emerging. We'll be doing more of this tomorrow and have a chance to really integrate this also at the end of the day today. But now, before we get into the questions and answers that you have been generating so beautifully here in our chat and sending to us, we're going to share some of the questions and answers, but well, the answers will be coming from the panel. We'll be feeding it to them. But let me just give you a few impressions that have come up for me and see, Györgyi, what may have come up for you as well. First of all, the sense, the overarching sense for me is that of gratitude. The sharing of the wisdom that we have had today from all of our speakers is truly a sharing that seems to have come from heart. Everyone here is seeking to make sense together, right? And here we are back into the sensing aspect of what it is we're doing. And also to be truly conscious of what it is that we are engaging in and with. Fred made the observation that all religions and all that we are talking about truly is one thing. And that he made reference also to this middle world in which we are living, which seems to have been echoed in many different of the presentations. Hema talked about moving from oneism to oneness, beautiful expression in that, and moving towards this unity consciousness. And we also had Safi, who was talking about what it means to human. How do we human well, right? Was one of the themes that this symposium is looking into. And the choice array that is before us, really the two choices we have as we choose to human well. Are we trying to please God, or are we trying just to please ourselves? And Rabbi Geffen just now, again, who was not with us because he's observing the Sabbath, brought this back to something Fred was saying at the beginning as well, because he was talking about head, heart, and hand, which I think echoed very nicely some of the things that that Fred had begun to talk about in terms of the idea of heaven, collective, and self. There are a lot of, so what we're looking for together with you in the participants here are these what is rising to the surface, and also what is settling in your sense, you know, this way of both the sentience and the consciousness. But before we get into more reflections on our own here, I'll pass it over to Györgyi, see what reflections she has, and then get into some of the questions from you.
Thank you so much, Alexander. I so much resonate with your comments. Well, I think I'd like to start that I was just jotting down so many words and expressions by our speakers. One of which is when Sophie said that freedom to choose whether it is to please God or to please myself. I must say that today's presentations, I think, serves both please God and please my own selfish maybe senses, because just really, really wonderful presentations. Fred was really, really outstanding. I jotted down, we are all zodiac energy. It is so true. Everything is within us. And of course, he said the same word we know, that from thought we create everything. But yeah, Hema, well, she was just amazing. The true nature of consciousness is bliss, and love unifies all of us. Wow, so spot on. And then when Sophie said that the angels always obeying and humans not, I do talk to angels often, and but I don't want to say that I obey all the time, but that's not my place to say anyway. I only ask. And then when Rabbi Geffen said that the heart and head harmony and coherence is vital for our evolution. Yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well, let's get some questions from our audience. Over to you, Alexander, and I take it from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Györgyi. Well, great. So here we are now with a set of questions, and we're more or less going to take the questions in the order with the speakers were here. Fred is still with us, I assume and I hope, even though it is very late. He's already in the future in Sunday in Singapore from where he speaks, so it's quite late for him. But wanted to just ask him a question that came from our audience and the participants. So Fred, if you're here, let's make sure that you also get spotlighted here together with me. And then we can move. The question here there are two questions here. One is kind of a question observation from Michelle Gold, who says, what is the world if not love? I think he was referring to the overall expression that you were sharing in terms of the Taoist framework. And maybe there's a question you might like to respond to about how does love express itself in that framework. Let me share with you immediately the second question also. There are only two of these. This is from David Talmor, who's also a research fellow at the Laszlo Institute. He mentioned that to Fred, he says, you mentioned the fourth industrial revolution and energies. Please talk about your experience with utilizing business as a channel for bringing these understandings you are describing into the world. David Talmor is working on these questions of resonance in the spirit of Nikola Tesla. Good, over to you, Fred.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you know, love is a very abstract concept. You want to write about fear, people can write a book about it. You write about love, you can write 1,000 books, because love is oneness, love is coherency, love is true, kind and beautiful. Love has many faces. But I know one of the things that love is not Hollywood, and you do not complete me. All right. So we mix up between love and sentiments, the emotional part of love and love itself. So, you know, you have this heart pounding, you have these movies, you look at it, and you have all these concepts of romantic love, but actually love is nature. Love is holism. Love is what draws us to become one. It is an inherent guidance, inner, you can call it about moral bearing, you can call it the moral sentiment, it can be your conscience. And the Chinese call that guidance to love called De. So it's a Dao, Dao De Jing. It's like that. Dao is evolution energy. And that evolution energy, if you follow your nature from the cosmos, which is De, and this is how you follow your nature, your calling in becoming the Tao. We are the Tao itself. Tao is inside us. We are creating life. And all is life. All is life. There's only life. And so we're just creating humanity. We're just creating life. Right? So in the Taoist tradition, it doesn't really use the word love, actually. I don't think the word love ever even appeared once. The kind of the love concept in the Buddhism is actually 慈悲, and the 慈 is nurturing your heart. Bei is connectivity, nurturing your heart and connecting, which is often called compassion. But again, compassion is an overloaded word. Because I hear so many things. And one of the things we do not want to associate, there are part of senses, but it's nothing at the human desire emotions that we know it. That if it's an emotion, it comes from energy of life, and that emotion is a sensing not associated with desire, but associated with your deep wish or your nature. So that's number one question. I don't think Tao Te Ching ever had the word love appear once. The second questions about the fourth industrial revolution. When the fourth industrial revolution is information technology and consciousness, like metaverse and everything, is become taken up, and also life science is taking, and then now the integration between the different information technologies, like if you put a mechanical arm and link up to your the information firing from your bioelectrical magnetic system into another system, which is mechanical, electric, information. Now you have integration between the two organic and inorganic information flow, and that's going to be more and more. But One of the major things about business to talk about is that business actually is the most important driver of economics, called market economy. But Adam Smith think of the theory of moral sentiments, therefore make it free, human would do it, is a big price to pay today. Now we're waking up, we have an ethics problem. That's why we have sustainability problem. And then we're moving up to fix it. And there's a movement in the West is called environmental sustainability governance, which means that there must be some boundary to it. It's already happening. 2019, American top 500 companies said, look, we cannot take out of the shareholder model. We have to go in the ecosystem and the stakeholder model and look at the whole system, which means coherency. Serving the whole system is the only way to go. And so this already happened. And this concept of impact investment is taken by the storm. This ESG impact investment is taken by the storm. There's so much money now going in. Without ESG, many people don't even invest. And so there's a market correction as predicted by Adam Smith that they need to make adjustment to the awakening itself. So what I'm doing, of course, in impact investment, ESG, but what is the most important impact? Shifting consciousness and changing your mind. Because how you think, what you're conscious is how you see, changes how you think, changes how you feel, changes how you choose. So I created this whole system of School of Life and Living to change people's mind about life journey and get out of the old industrial era, which the United Nations are talking about. The more is better material to create a well-being and happiness paradigm, you know, not the GDP, but the GHP idea, right? Which is advocated by Bhutan, which actually didn't do so well in their own application, but nonetheless, the idea is great. So that's what I do. I participate and orient my company to create this era by creating new way of living, which is your culture, therefore new economics, therefore new era. And again, the quantum field is not created a situation where moment to moment it balance for coherency, but next moment human being has a choice. It creating without thoughts. Thank you.
Fred, thank you so much.
Yeah, I suppose we're here to talk about science and consciousness. I suppose if you want to use that word, I would try to answer it. One is coherency. Coherency is the expression in the material world of oneness, Tao, Wuji, Taiji, everything. In the material world, it will show up as coherency or the middle way. And that is love. But I'm trying to explain that it's not the love that normally is associated in the paradigm. And it's not the kind of emotions that we associate it with, and that it do not describe love that way. Coherency is its expression, oneness is its nature, because in the dualistic world, it expresses in a dynamic changing environment, but in the fundamental world of reality, there's no separation. So I hope that I explained. Tao itself, of course, is love. Wuji is love, but expression is coherency. Now, as far as the fourth industrial revolution is not talked about in the United Nations, it's talked about in the World Economic Forum. So they are talking about other different revolution, but this one is talked about in World Economic Forum. And so I'm just referring this to kind of quote it because that's what people talk about in the business world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred. And again, what we're looking for here is to bridge understanding, to interpret each other in our own frameworks, because this is exactly what we're looking at here. These different religions are all looking at these issues of oneness, of consciousness, but not trying to say which is right, which is wrong. You used the wrong expression. Here's not the way we should say. This is not the conversation here. This symposium is to be able to bridge in our consciousness. So now let's move to some of the questions. Again, thanking Fred so much for your clarification and your grace in answering these questions as well. And moving now over to some questions for Hema. Pass it back to you, Györgyi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alexander. So Hema, just reading out, Michelle said before, the space is a sense experience in our 15th sense universe experienced by a fully conscious entity. And then Connie Baxter Marlowe said the following: wonderful, Hema, so beautifully expressed. We have been transmuting the lower vibration of fear, separation, and scarcity for all of creation. We have done a great job. We are moving into higher frequency with the earth as the vibration increases. All of creation is awaiting the opening of the human heart and the love contained therein. Go humanity. Take in all these folks are sharing and trust the loving universe with bold, committed action. Thank you so much. Now, there's a question as well, which I would like to read out from Derek. This is to Hema. What if an understanding of who am I is humbly grounded in our acceptance and surrender to the gift of experiencing sentience and consciousness in the essential bodies? That it is through an empathic understanding of expanding awareness of what it is like to be another and to be a beautiful part of the cosmos, welcoming the pleasure and pain of self, other, and cosmos to more fully experience and express, understand, and contribute to life's being glad to be alive in us. I find it joyful to use the gift of my body to understand love, for love apart from understanding its impact seems anemic to me, both in its reception and in its offering. Are there liabilities in your view of Hinduism to such a view? I choose to live fully as an expression and receiver of love in the context of the lovedness of the cosmos, becoming beauty in this gifted state of existence in time-space. So Hema, what's your reflection on these?
Yeah, so great question. And I think, of course, we're limited here with time, but my short answer to that would be that, as I said, I think that, we have to learn to take life lightly and to understand that it's a play and we're all players and we all play a part. Every sentient being is playing a part. Every living organism is playing a part. And I think it's choice. We have choices as to how we live our lives and which direction we go in and how we choose to express love and experience love. And ultimately, it is all love. Even fear is just, the sort of extension of love when it becomes contracted. When energy is contracted, we experience it as scarcity, we experience it as lack, we experience it as fear. And when it is expanded, we experience it increasingly as a beautiful vibration of love that expands. So there are no liabilities from my perspective. From the Hindu perspective, I'd say that it's really all-inclusive. We are on a journey. When we honor our own journey, we honor others' journeys. They are where they need to be, and we continue to evolve. Ultimately, the question, who am I, is about knowing that we are evolving. And so we don't have to stay stuck in who we thought we were. We grow. If we keep growing, we keep evolving, we keep separating and from our senses and our attachment to senses, we evolve, and evolving is ultimately where we want to get to, because that is the real intention of asking, who am I and who do I choose to be now? So to continue growing. So the body is a beautiful gift, of course, and it is where we experience life. So it's wonderful that we use the body in a healthy way to express the best version of love we can in any moment, and also continue to evolve so that that version of love continues to evolve.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Leo. Andrew Bailey said the following: love with capital L is the primordial energy of the universe. In fact, there is nothing but love. That's so true, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I'm just actually scrolling through the questions, and so sorry for taking a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I just want to let our audience know that unfortunately Sophie lost his internet connection, so we cannot read the questions to him. Just quickly from Connie again, he said, we are God, we are the conscious, loving universe.
Absolutely. And that is our essence. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful comments. We're getting such wonderful comments. And ultimately, when you transcend language, we're sort of saying the same thing. It's just our understanding of language can create separation, but that's just our ego. So
yeah. And then she also said, when we serve ourselves, we serve others, and when we serve others, we serve ourselves. So true, isn't it?
I love that as well. Yes, and that's so true. And exactly, there is no other ultimately. So absolutely beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Hema. Thank you.